Back here on Sports Medicine Weekly on this Saturday morning. Net proceeds from our show, Sports Medicine Weekly, go to support orthopedic research at Rush through the liveactivenow.org fund. Our producer, board operator, Shane Reardon. Our coordinating producer is Treese Ann Seeger. I'm Steve Kashul with Dr. Brian Cole at Sports Medicine Weekly, coming your way each and every Saturday between 8 and 9 a.m. only on 670 The Score, and our website is sportsmedicineweekly.com. Dr. Cole, I wanted to ask you about some of the new things you guys are doing with cartilage in the cartilage transplant space. We've talked about that before, but it keeps evolving, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Steve. We have sort of this modern medicine innovations that we're now tying together with cartilage transplants. So it's this concept of what I call biologic surgery. We've clearly spent a lot of time and energy in disease prevention now. We're trying to treat disease when it's earlier. We're trying to do it in the office setting. Every effort, as you know, to try to keep people out of the operating room with, musculoskeletal problems. But when they do have to go to the operating room, there are some biologically really challenging problems with the solutions we have right now that doesn't always work. So we're saying, what can we do to trick the body to make it better? And that, to me, is some of the most exciting things that we're working on now, are creating partnerships where we will use tissue, for example, a graft, a cartilage graft, and that comes from a donor to treat a cartilage problem in a joint, and we'll marry it with some type of biology, say stem cells from the same patient, and mix that together to improve the ultimate outcome. We like this concept of translational medicine we've always talked about is like, I got a problem in the office, let's figure out how to solve it, take it to the laboratory, bring it back to the clinic, right? Some of the solutions we have in and of themselves have problems that we develop, and we want to make those better too. So you end up going back to the lab again and say, hey, how can we improve upon something that is already a difficult problem, but let's make it even better? And that, to me, has been some of the most exciting things that we're doing, this concept of biologic surgery, making surgical procedures better by the use of biology.
Our next guest is Christian Bezanar, JRF Ortho, a nonprofit organization specializing in allograft donor tissue in the orthopedic space. You guys work closely, Dr. Cole, with these guys, don't you?
We do. This is JRF, Joint Restoration Foundation, that Christian is as you mentioned, a regional manager of, and we've enjoyed an amazing partnership with them providing the tissue and we treating patients with very difficult problems.
Christian, thanks so much for joining us here on Sports Medicine Weekly. First, how did you guys develop an interest in the concept of biologic surgery?
For myself personally, so first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm really excited to be speaking with both of you. So JRF Ortho has been around now for about 20 years and was really formed by two of the largest and most reputable tissue banks in the world, frankly, Allosource and Community Tissue Services, and was really formed with the idea of focusing on a very specialized niche within the allograft, the donor tissue world, and that being the osteochondral allografts, or the cartilage grafts that Dr. Cole is talking about, meniscus grafts as well, and tendons. So really sports medicine focused. So JRF from its very outset, from its very creation, was really focused on biologic surgery and the fact that these cartilage grafts, the sort of key component of everything we do is doing things efficiently and quickly enough to maintain viable cells, to keep the cartilage alive, frankly, from the time it's recovered until we can get it in the surgeon's hands to treat the right patient. And so from a company standpoint, I think before maybe even the term biologic surgery was around, that's really the reason that the JRF Ortho was created. And from a personal standpoint, this is just something that truly fascinates me. It's just such a complex and nuanced topic, brings in all these wonderful layers of even ethics and regulatory issues and of course science and medicine. And my personal lens is I get a chance because of my work to listen to thought leaders like Dr. Cole and other scientists really debate and discuss these issues. And on the other hand, I hear questions from my family and my friends about regenerative medicine and stem cells and all these things that are really just sort of nebulous topics to folks who aren't sort of exposed to the area. So I feel very, very fortunate to be able to, have this personal curiosity and personal interest in this, and it wraps very much into what we do every day at JRF Ortho and trying to service surgeons like Dr. Cole.
The interesting thing about JRF is it's a non-for-profit agency, and you guys have dedicated yourself to support clinical research. So we have a really cool study going on. One problem we have with these grafts is that they don't always integrate. The donor graft doesn't always integrate perfectly with the host, with the recipient, right?
Sure.
So this is something that we have been trying to sort of squeeze out improvements by affecting the biology in a positive way. So now we have a really interesting study where we're using the patient's own stem cells. These are cells that have the ability to produce growth factors or proteins that can promote healing, and we literally soak the graft in the operating room in these cells, this liquid, that we hope through further study will show a difference in the ability for the graft to integrate into the host or the recipient. So it's a randomized study where half the patients get the cells and half don't, and then we'll follow them by very high-level imaging like CT and MRI, CAT scan and MRI postoperatively, and see how there are differences in the graft integrating. So that's a really cool project. It takes a specific problem in sports medicine that we deal with daily, and this concept of biologic surgery where we can make it better in this way. So anyway, it's just a great thing that you guys are committed to this, and we're really indebted to you for the support that you guys provide.
It's a privilege to support things like, and as you said, in our world, so the United States is privileged in the fact that, the infrastructure for tissue donation has been built over the course of 20 or 30 years. So there really are, so roughly in the order of 30 to 35,000 musculoskeletal tissue donors every year in the U.S. But specifically in this niche world, again, of cartilage, that number of donors is really roughly 800 to 1,000 for JRF Ortho, and for the collective cartilage segment, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 to 2,500 donors. So these grafts are very, very difficult to come by. Again, the timing is very difficult in terms of processing and storage. And so everything, anything we can do to support the surgical community and finding, the appropriate patients for these grafts, and then ultimately finding ways to make them even more successful than they already are. It's mission critical for us, right? It's the best possible use of this incredible gift, that we feel very, very strongly about being stewards of.
Christian, I want to ask you, for people who may want to get involved, I see on your website, place an order, and obviously questions, but you're the link between patients in need of the biologic joint repair and those who are inspired to restore hope and healing to others. So how can people get involved? Give something for our listeners.
Yeah, a lot of the involvement from the public, I think, is, going back to kind of the Donate Life and your local tissue banks and OPO, that side of things. In terms of getting involved, if you'd like to donate time or money or just even get more informed, we have links there to the American Association of Tissue Banks, the Donate Life sites. And that's very, very critical. You can inform yourself, inform people in your community more and more about organ and tissue donation. From the standpoint of, if this is potentially something that you think, you might be needing as a patient, or someone in your family is interested, our website has a lot of great information, videos, papers, and really that information comes from the true experts. So that's Dr. Cole and his colleagues. So, my advice in terms of, potentially being a patient, I think, is go ahead and research and inform yourself on a lot of these topics. But I think you can potentially take yourself down a rabbit hole that we may not know how to get out of as just a member of the public all the time. Stem cells is maybe the biggest rabbit hole we have. But I would say inform yourself a bit. Use our website to potentially see who's active in this space. The surgeons in your area or community who might be interested and be working with these types of grafts, and then seek that type of expert out so that they can get a a full view of your health picture and talk to you about all of the options at your disposal. And a graft may or may not be the best option for you.
The website is jrfortho.com. Christian Bezanar from JRF Ortho. Thanks so much for joining us here on Sports Medicine Weekly. Good stuff.
Thank you both. Appreciate the opportunity.
All righty. We're going to come back, Dr. Cole, with our Ask the Doctor segment. Always the staple. Got some great questions for you, and you're going to answer them for our listeners and tell people how they can get involved with our Ask the Doctor segment. Many thanks to JRF Ortho. I'm Steve Kashul with Dr. Brian Cole. Back with more after this.
On 670, The Score.